So with that one, it is fantasy, so it's not real world. I basically made an old crumbling Gothic manor by the sea, just like you said. It's not on a hill, but you got everything else right. Um, it's set in a land where nightmares take the form of weather. So they'll have these storms come through, and basically everybody hallucinates their own worst nightmare for the span of the storm. And everybody sees something different. And kind of the only way to like survive these storms is people have to chain themselves up so that they don't lose their mind while it's happening. And that's in the opening scene. Harlow is she's definitely my sweariest, stabbiest female character that I've ever written. I had so much fun with her. But she lives in this crumbling old house with her best friend, who's like a very fragile flower, and her whole purpose revolves around protecting her best friend from these storms. And then her best friend gets basically married off to this evil prince that everybody hates. And so Harlow has the brilliant idea that she's going to switch places with her best friend at the altar. And she's like, I'll just marry him myself and then I'll kill him. And we'll be done with that problem. But of course, nothing goes to plan. He turns out to be very charming, much to her surprise. I credit my kids with that because we were on the way back from skiing a couple years ago, and randomly, like you know how kids are, they're so strange and random. And from the back seat, they just go, "Mom, what would a nightmare look like if you could see it?" And I was like, "Well, that's an interesting question. It would probably look like a storm or like a storm cloud." And then as soon as I said that, I was like, a storm that looks like that's basically a nightmare, the physical manifestation of a nightmare. Like, what would that even look like? And then somehow that book was born out of that little seed, that 1 minute long interaction. So she finds out that he's the only one who's immune to these nightmares. Um, and I'll go ahead and tell you why. It's because he's basically spent years trying to master himself, to the point where he has such control over his own mind and his own emotional state that he has learned how to not let them affect him. And part of her arc is learning to do the same thing because she's always just sort of given into them and been terrified by them, as everyone else is. And he's really dead set on teaching her how to do this thing. And through that process, she sort of learns to relate to herself. She comes into her own and she learns to relate to herself in a different way. He finds out the next day that he married the wrong woman. Um, but that was also sort of um, part of things not going the way that she expected, because he doesn't react the way that she is convinced he's going to. And he just overall is completely different than what she was expecting. And that part was really fun, just having her expect things at every turn and then him never reacting the way that she is convinced he's going to. She doesn't get jealous. She doesn't, the best friend wants nothing to do with this marriage at all. There was no jealousy. There's like a deep love between these two women. I actually don't really write jealousy in books. It's like not really an emotion I experience in real life. And so I feel like I cannot do it authentically. So I just don't write it. The whole climax of the book revolves around what her best friend's fate is going to be. And I won't give that away in case anybody wants to read it. But I did really want to show like a deep love between her and her best friend. And she does kind of have to struggle with where that's going to end up in the larger scheme of things.